Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a positive spin. Today we're going to be talking about The Mousetrap. Now, my history with this film, I knew that a particular part of Mickey's history was going to be going into the public domain. Just like Winnie the Pooh, when they made those two films that I think are fantastic about Winnie the Pooh. This happens to be Steamboat Willie, a specific Mickey episode. So I heard that they were going to make a horror movie out of it. It was going to be a slasher film, and I was so excited to see it. So let's put a positive spin on The Mousetrap. Now, I have heard this called the worst movie ever made, the worst horror movie ever made, and it currently has a 2.5 on IMDb, which it's complete crap. I like this film. Doesn't mean you have to, but I do like this film. Is it a perfect film? No. But it's a lot of fun. I really like where Simon Phillips, the writer, was going with this film. Now, I'm familiar with Simon Phillips. He was in a movie called Once Upon a Time at Christmas, or on Christmas, somewhere in that. If you guys get a chance, check that one out. It's about a killer Santa Claus who happens to have Mrs. Claus, who kind of resembles Harley Quinn. It's a fun movie. He plays a great killer Santa Claus, and it actually has a sequel, which I'm also familiar with, and that is The Nights Before Christmas. So, hearing he was going to be the killer, Simon Phillips, um, was going to be donning the mask of Steamboat Willie or Mickey Mouse, I was excited for this. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. Now, one of the things I love about this film is the atmosphere. This takes place in it's like an arcade, but it's not just an arcade. And I thought these kind of places were really cool. My nephew had a couple birthday parties at one, and that was the first time I'd become familiar with these kind of arcades. They have rides, indoor rides. Um, well, of course, now they have virtual reality, which they didn't have back then, but all kinds of things to do, laser tag in house. So I think that's a really cool setting for a slasher movie. I like the way Simon Phillips kind of portrays Mickey Mouse or Steamboat Willie. Um, Again, he was great as a killer Santa Claus. He's really good as Steamboat Willie as well, and it's just a lot of fun. One of the things I like about it, and I know I'm going to give stuff away here, so if you haven't seen it, now's the time to kind of maybe decide whether you want to keep going with this. Our killer can teleport. Now, I talked to Joe about this at length, and at first I didn't know what to think of it. But then the more it happened, the more I loved the fact that the killer could teleport. Because that's something that we kind of joke about in slasher movies. How can Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees get from one place to another so quick? They must have teleported. Well, this one actually does. Steamboat Willie or Mickey Mouse is able to teleport from place to place. And why not? It's a killer dressed as Mickey Mouse. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun that they kind of played on that aspect of slasher movies. To be hung up, because I still am. I'm still hung up on the fact that this is called the worst movie ever made and the worst horror movie ever made. The acting is more than competent, and I actually found it to be a big positive that you can root for some of the characters. I mean, I actually like some of the characters. I thought they were pretty interesting. Typical teenagers, though, but some of them were very likable. And the thing that got to me the most, how the killer became Mickey Mouse or Steamboat Willie, I thought was interesting because he was a likable guy before being taken over by or possessed by Mickey Mouse. So I thought that was a big positive as well. Because the killer is usually someone who's damaged or something happened to him or whatever. You don't get to see a nice killer. You know what I mean? It's kind of an odd thing to put in a slasher movie. But it works really well because you know that once he is taken over by Mickey Mouse, the good guy who was the manager of that arcade, is no longer there. The kills could have been a little bit better, but I still liked them. And something happens at the end that kind of took me by surprise. And I'm not exactly used to with, I guess, slashers who support the final girl. So keep that in mind when you watch it. And there's also a mid-credit scene because it just ends. And it was kind of jarring the first time I watched it because I've seen this like twice now or three times. And the way it ends is very jarring, but it is kind of like Hatchet, where it ends mid word. So I'm very eager to see where they're going to go from here. And there was also a mid credit scene that is really cool that kind of leads us to believe that there's going to be more than just the Mickey character, at least in my opinion. You don't know that for sure, but yeah, there he is right there, Mickey Mouse, holding a knife. How much better can it be? Now, I know a lot of people think this movie is stupid. I, however, don't. I am going to recommend it. It is low budget, okay? But it doesn't feel low budget. It felt very much to me like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the first one, where you knew they were working on a small budget, but they made it look fantastic. That's the way this movie feels to me. So give it a shot, check it out, or don't. But don't forget to check out Joe's Positive Spin for The Mouse Trap. Remember, guys, physical media matters. And until next time.